and welcome to the Two Wise Birds. I'm here with my co-host. She loves foraging in hedgerows. She's been helping dentists, associates and principals for the last 15 years to have a smooth and stress-free life at work. It's International Dental Business Coach, Dr. Jane Lelean.
Thank you so much for that introduction. And so I'm with my wise bird friend as well, Dr. Sue Boynton. And Sue is just so incredible. For over 20 years, she has been assisting dentists and team members that get into scrapes. So whether it's patient complaints, litigation, GDC, Sue is your woman. And when she's not helping dentists that have got into a pickle, she loves jumping out of aeroplanes. So, Sue.
What a brilliant description. I think people know a bit more about us now, Jane. And I wondered if today, Jane, you'd like to talk about your arse.
Wow! That's interesting, isn't it? Well, I'm really glad that the camera's so high up. No, but seriously, what is my arse? Now, I'm often asked, sometimes directly, sometimes on Facebook, and many people may have seen those questions. How do I recruit somebody? What do I look for? And I suggest you look at their arse and recruit them on their arse, on how good it is. And what I mean by that is A stands for attitude. What is the attitude, the values, the beliefs of that team member? What is their arse? And what's the R? That's about resourcefulness. And some of them may bring resources. So if you've got a self-employed team member, a hygienist or an associate, they have to provide some of their own kit. So are they bringing their loupes? Are they bringing their scalers? Are they bringing a microscope? So there's some of that. But more importantly, how resourceful are they? That if there's a challenge, a little hiccup, how prepared are they to engage in the problem solving rather than just abdicating it and leaving it to you? The S is about the skills. And actually, to a greater or lesser extent, I'm not really that bothered about skills. Yes, they need to have the attitude, but what is the skill set that a team member must come with? And that is going to depend so much on what type of practice you are. But if you are an aspirational, restorative practice, you may set your benchmark that actually to get this job, for even be considered, you need to have done a year-long restorative program with somebody like Paul Tipton, Chris Orr, or many of the others who are out there, or an MSc in restorative. So what skills are they bringing? There's going to be clinical skills, communication skills, marketing skills, a huge remit. And then the E is about education and experience. So yes, what qualifications do they have and what experience do they have? Because the evidence shows that it takes 10,000 hours to mastery, which is like 10 years. So there are many people out there have the most fantastic portfolio of really good qualifications, but have only been doing dentistry between 3 and 5 years. And actually, I don't believe that in that time they've really mastered how to use a high-speed handpiece with real elegance. Now, that might be a bit of a controversial statement, but if we're looking for mastery, and it is going to depend on your practice and what you want, but please recruit on their arse. And I'm sure you've got some comments about that, Sue, because I know that you often work with the other side, the associates looking for the practices.
I do. And I think it's helpful to know what to look for. I think the days of calling in and having a cup of tea or coffee and having a quick chat and being recruited, those days have gone. Believe me, I think that did work in the past. I don't think that can work now because dentistry has become much more complex and everybody's role in the practice is interspersed with everything else. You hit the nail on the head there when you said how good are they at communicating? How good are they at marketing themselves and the practice? Perhaps how good are they at dealing with disgruntled people from time to time as well? What are their people skills? So there's all sorts of different things that people want to look for when they're in a practice. And for an associate, they want to look at the practice when it's running as well, and maybe have a chat with some people in the team, maybe find out what the staff turnover is. Yep. You're trying to work out the culture of the team as well. You know, there's all sorts of different things to look at. It's not just about the dentistry, although it appears to be sometimes. The dentistry is a minor part of it sometimes in people's lives. It's, are these people you can work with? Are these people you can have fun with and you'll look forward to going to work?
Absolutely. And that word, culture, for me is so important. And when we think about the practice, we need to actively think about what is the culture we want in our business. And if we don't think about it, it will happen by accident. And many principals wake up one day and go, well, this isn't the practice that I wanted. But they didn't actively decide what culture they wanted or set about achieving it. So cultures have to be designed and developed, and that's when we do recruit people, and more importantly, we retain them, because there's nothing worse than working in a practice which is like this for staff, and that's all about people leave toxic environments. It's not about how much they're being paid. It's about whether they like being at work.
I think that's right, because we spend a huge percentage of our lives at work. And when we're not at work, sometimes we're thinking about it as well. And it's nice to have nice thoughts about work, but we've all had those times when it's a Sunday evening and you've got that Sunday evening dread and thinking, oh, I hope I don't have to go to work tomorrow. But unless something strange happens, I get abducted by aliens, I'm probably going to have to go to work tomorrow. Do you know, I was talking to a dentist recently and she said, I've been driving to work and just hoping that I have a minor road accident so I don't have to work. And you think, how bad is that job for someone to have those thoughts when they're going to work? And those thoughts are not unusual.
Absolutely. And life is too short to be unhappy in your job. Yeah. And I think we have to be honest about this. What can we influence? What can we change? And we all know there are organizations and practices where actually, as associates, we can't get involved and change anything. If you're unhappy and you cannot influence anything, you need to leave, because life is too short and there are jobs out there that will fit you. And I think that's what you and I are doing from different perspectives. Yeah. We are about defining values and culture and finding that culture match, because that's when it works.
I think that's right. And I think if somebody is having those thoughts when they go to work, first of all, I'd say you're not the only one that's having those thoughts. Second, talk to somebody. Next thing, plan what you're going to do, because you don't have to stay in a specific practice. People will say, well, what will happen to my patients when I leave? They'll be okay. And you can get more patients, and sometimes patients follow you to your next practice. Sometimes they don't, and you pick up a whole load of new patients. You know, it's going to be okay, but you need to do what's best for you. Jane and I are always saying life's too short to be unhappy. And the main question I will say to people is, what do you want from life?
Absolutely.
And if you think about that, you can unpick it backwards and find out what you do want from your work as well.
And so when I'm working with associates and they ask that question, well, what do I do with my patients? I ask them, how many of those patients would turn up to your funeral if you died?
Oh, crikey.
And if the patients don't care about you enough to turn up to your funeral, should you put your life on hold for them? And I know it is a bit of a question, yeah, but that's the thing.
Well, and I think that's right. And, you know, life goes on. If you can't go to the practice, say, for example, I've broken my leg before, unexpectedly. You've broken your leg and you can't go to work. The work still gets done. you know, it just means that someone else has to do it unexpectedly. So things will get sorted out. So we've been quite deep with all this, Jane. It's a good job we started with that lively stuff at the beginning, isn't it? What I wanted to say to people is these things will sort out. Don't think that everything has to stay the same because that's the way it's always been. These things can get sorted out one way or another as well. Absolutely. So I hope that's been lots of good hints and tips for you today.
Yeah, I hope so, because your dream job is out there and you will either find it or you will create it, but it's there.
I think we're going to have a viral video because your little cat, is it Nancy, is walking about in the background going, yeah, I know exactly what you mean, John. I think that's brilliant. We love cats on videos. So we've been the 2 wise birds plus a cat, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Wish you all the best.
Bye.
Bye.